Okay, so I just got done watching a decent, you gotta say, psychological thriller. It's ranked more as a horror thriller, but there's like horror elements in it, but it's more noir, psychological at best. Um, really well made. It's last the nat the last night in Soho. Um, It's directed by Edgar Wright. He also it's a screenplay by him and Christy will something. Also, story is by him. Um, it stars Thomason McKenzie, who plays Ellie Turner. You have Anya Taylor Joy, who I know mostly from New Mutants film, which I like. I know a lot of people don't like that one, that X-Men film. I don't mind it. She also played in Split, which I really like. Also reviewed on the channel. Um, she played in The Witch, which I have problems with. Like, I don't mind her performances, but it's like that I don't mind her acting in that one, but like her or that movie overall is just it's overrated and yeah. Um, but and she's played in other stuff. This one basically is a young cultural up to art type school designer because she wants to be a designer, fashion designer. She loves the 60s because she listens to a lot of 60s music, and we learned that her mother killed herself, so she sees her ghost in mirrors time to time, which at the beginning I thought that was like her gift. I thought that was her gift that her grandmother was talking about, but no, that she like no, you're talented in designing clothes. Like this whole movie, I thought that's why she was experiencing what she does. It was because she's psychic or can feel stuff, but no, that's not it. Um, but yeah, overall, I didn't mind the film. I thought it was decently made. I will give production design big credit because they did draw a lot from the 60s. They did do the research. They really made up the 60s in this movie, and like the dancing that Taylor Joy does, very 60s. Um, even the dialogue is 60s a bit. This movie kept reminding me, like at the beginning when she first starts experiencing stuff. Um, it reminded me of Sucker Punch, which granted it's not Sucker Punch isn't a horror film. I know that, but I'm saying in terms of how the character experiences things in that movie, and also in this movie does the same thing kind of in a way. Um, and then it also reminded me a bit of Suspiria a bit, which I'm not a big fan of. I saw like parts of that film, I saw clips and all that, but never really sat down to watch it. Um, but this reminded me of that a bit. It really reminded me a lot of that movie Carnival of Souls. If anybody's, you know, old school horror, uh, classic dark atmosphere, scary, you know, that was like a 60, I think, 68 or 67, 69, 69. You know that, it came out in the late 60s anyway. That's a horror film, which I swear, like the director, he must have either saw that movie and tried. I think he put some elements of that in this. Because if you watch that movie and then you watch some scenes that are in this movie in the mid to third act, middle act, and then third a bit, um, you'll probably see some parallels between the two. At least I did. That's what I kept thinking of was Carnival of Souls, and it's not. It's the twist. Like there's a twist in this, and it's not like that movie at least. But I did like how this movie's. I did like the twist in this, but I also am a bit. I'm a bit torn of the twist because of the of who it, how what the twist, pretty much what character is basically the twist of what's going on. Of course, then you'll have to just dismiss some stuff of like, how is she seeing this? Why is she seeing all this? Why is she experiencing uh, going back into the 60s? Um, and then witnessing like this uh, Anya Taylor-Joy's character Sandy as like a wannabe showgirl singer. Um, but then this movie's kind of odd because then there's in terms of the rules of how she is able to go in and out of the 60s and then back to reality, because it seems like she's affected, because there's a scene where literally when Ellie gets back to the real world the next morning, she one of her roommate or whatever, she notices, oh, you have a hickey on your neck, and that's from the whole she went into the 60s, and the Sadie character was kissing on this other guy in the elevator or whatever, and kissing on her neck, and then but that's weird because then it appears on Ellie, so I'm like, how is she? How come she can feel what Sadie can feel in that moment, but then later on, you know, when she's getting, well, I don't really want, I won't spoil as much. Um, there's other stuff that happens where I didn't understand. She can feel what she's in experiencing in that part, but then later on, you know, when something major you find out like happened to this girl, which you already know something did happen to her, but literally like you would assume Ellie would die because if she's experiencing what, but I didn't understand. Also, I have I know a lot of people seem to, a lot of these horror movies nowadays paint men as evil, all that. Yeah, this movie's like that as well. I mean, you have most men in this movie are either douchebags or sleazy or creepy or um, pervy. There's only really one decent guy, the black guy, which I thought was decent. I thought was different, funny as well. Well, not funny in humor, but funny in terms of he's like the only decent character in this. Where else, even the police are, you know, not as good either. Um, but yeah, like the only decent person is her, the guy that befriends her, that befriends Ellie, which I forget his name, but I thought he did fine in acting. I thought the acting in this was really good by Thomason McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. I thought both of them did really well. The older lady that plays Miss Collins, I thought she did fine for what she had to do. Everybody else was fine. Um, But yeah, like it's a bit of a trippy movie. I will say, Anya Taylor-Joy's. I know she can. She's a pretty decent singer. I'll give her that. Yeah, she actually does sing in this one song, but I thought she did really not fine, but I thought she had a decent voice enough to for what she was asked to do. At least this song, I don't know if she can be like a pop singer or something like that, but I didn't mind her on that one song. But but yeah, the look of the '60s, they got it down pretty well. Um, I will another gripe I have with the film is the very last shot. I didn't understand. I didn't like that. I liked the fact that she saw like her mom, a vision of like her mom, but then the very last shot I did not understand, let alone did not like. Cause then I'm like, but I don't understand. Um, yeah, everything else. Again, the good in this is the acting's really well from the two leads. The production design, the writing was pretty good for what he was trying to pull off anyway. Although, again, the twist I'm conflicted on because of the character that we find out who is who. Um, and also, why was the character experiencing this stuff if, you know, um, and then the final scene, or the final shot of the movie, which I did not like. Again, it should just end, whatever. It doesn't end like bad, but it's just, um, I just didn't like how the final shot was. Like they should just cut it where she saw her mom, and then credits, and she smiles or whatever, and that's it. But that's it for really the movie. I really don't want to spoil it, 'cause I do recommend it. I will say if you're a fan of psychological thrillers. I mean, it's horror because there are horror elements. Like I wouldn't say it's scary, but it is a pretty good trippy movie. If you're into also retro films or that are trying to, it's not really trying to be artsy either. But I again also a gripe is they made all the men mostly in this evil or pervy or creepy, except for the black guy. Even another character, although older character that you find out he wasn't really who he was supposed to be, or what she perceived him to be. Which I'm like, uh, okay. I mean, I guess he was uh all right, but then I don't know. And then the way they had that character just killed off, I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, but yeah, I would still recommend it. I would still in terms of horror, I guess. But it's not scary. It is not scary at all. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this review. Please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I drop more content. And yeah, thanks for watching and take care. Peace and love.